Welcome back to the Play On podcast. This is episode 48. We're actually just doing a reaction to what happened like during the Champions League playoff matches. First time in history. What'd you think of the Masters, Jesse?
It was surprising. A lot of surprising results in first half. Bad week for us in prediction wise, because not a lot went our way.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't enjoy too many of the matches. I think there was a handful. Like the Bruges Atalanta match, I thought that was a low-key banger matchup.
Yeah, but I I thought, going into it because certain teams needed results, I thought they would, make it interesting, and because of that, it might go back and forth with the other team, trying to take advantage that they might become vulnerable at the back since they had to, send bodies forward. But it was like teams were afraid.
Well,
You
I think w one of the teams were afraid. Like I don't know. I thought it was gonna be like a closer one than like the opposite of what you thought. You said it was like back and forth. I thought it was gonna be like close because like you're playing your classification to the next round.
hmm
So it's very surprising how a lot of the teams played it. Like Man City, I'll say it right now. We could talk about that off the rip.
Yeah,
They played
probably.
horrible.
Yeah, biggest match of probably, and it was a great watch. It was a great watch for me. It was enjoyable. I didn't have to be too stressed since the first goal came in like the fifth minute.
Yeah, that was very early on. Like as soon as I turned on the game, because well, I'm at work, it was already Real Madrid up 1-0. The minute four.
Yeah, minute four.
And then even I don't know. Yeah, we could get into jump in. Well, we'll jump into the match right now. So the ones that qualified from Bruges Atalanta was Bruges, Celtic
Yeah,
Bayern, Feyenoord Milan, Feyenoord, Monaco
Benfica.
Benfica. That one was a really good match.
Yeah, 3-3.
And then it's was that everything?
Uh, Dortmund Sport. That's all for Tuesday. Wednesday was Dortmund Sporting, which was 0-0. It wasn't,
And Dortmund went through because they won 3-0 in the first leg.
and then PSG dismantled Brest 7-0. I pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the aggregate get was 10-0, so tough.
Yeah. And then PSV 3-1 against Juventus. They went to extra time. That one was,
Uh,
high tension.
Vintage Ivan Perisic.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Real Madrid, Man City. Man City ends up crashing out. It's a huge disappointment. Where do you think City goes from here?
Well, I think the only positive you can take from this is probably use it to build up for the next team because it just looks like a completely changing of the guard like we were talking previously or like we've mentioned a lot of those players just don't look like what they used to be.
Mm-mm. And we're talking specifically Bernardo Silva. Like 2 years ago, he was dominating this match and becoming man of the match just with this specific matchup.
hmm
And today, well, like, or today's day and age, he looks
He
like a rusty old man.
Yeah, he did not look himself like physically he did not like before we would see him all over the pitch running around. Even if he's not the biggest body, he would put his body in there, but now he just looks like he's too tired to do that. He doesn't His technique will always shine out, but even his technique sort of looks like it's kind of rusty or what, but I don't know, but he did not look like the old Bernardo Silva of old.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and it's interesting to see how like everything falls off. Just because it wasn't well, I was just talking to you in general how like also Man City didn't look like there were lines were connecting. Like they had Nico Gonzalez playing, but he looked lost. They had the new center back playing at right back, who's enough. It was like you said, they were taking turns with him.
Yeah, they were, and he did improve, and I felt like that was. It looked like the new signings were the only ones that actually cared about trying to win, because Marmoush was going for it. Same with Nico Gonzalez, like he was trying to get under people's skin,
Same thing
Some,
with Salvino.
yes, but the rest, like the old guard, they just look like they're done. I don't know if it's because the long campaigns have taken a toll on them, but they just don't look like they're up to the level anymore. And I think just this season could just be a building for the next year, like we said, and maybe in the summer an even bigger overhaul we than we thought is going to be needed to bring this Man City team again.
And how much would you blame Pep on this loss? Because even the pre-match conferences, like he was showing no confidence. Like you're only down one goal. You were winning the match at one point in the first leg. What do you think he has blame to it too?
I think you said it's the players because they didn't show up, and that's completely true. And they're the ones that play the game. But I would also say his attitude also seemed like he was defeated. And he's going through a lot of, personal things. But I think he is a major part of why Man City's like this. Because we've often praised him for his ingenuity and, knowing when a player is done and moving them on.
Hmm.
But it didn't look like with these players that he knew when to move on.
Yeah,
I don't know if
those. Go ahead, sorry.
uh, no, you go ahead.
And I was just gonna mention the quote he said how there was only 1% chance of winning this whole game. It's like, bro, you're down one. It's not like you're down seven. You're not in Brest's situation. You're in your situation where you're losing the match, the aggregate 3-2. So I don't know. It's a very different attitude from Pep that we've seen over the years. This is emo Pep. Probably his off football life is like taking over, but it's just sad to see, especially just because you could tell it's like rubbing off on the players. And
Yeah,
again, like they're not fighting.
they're not, and it looks like Pep's distracted, obviously from off-field things, and so does Man City. It looks like they're distracted and they weren't on the pitch
Yeah, because there was a time and point where Ruben Diaz was being praised as the best center back in the world, but I have yet to see that ever. Like he looks mediocre back then, and it's crazy to me because like people would always compare like Premier League this, Premier League that, but like imagine if Man City faced Barcelona, they'd lose like 7-0. And I'm not saying that just because like all Madrid is shit, but Barcelona right now this season has Real Madrid's card. And if you're playing like if Barcelona's making Real Madrid look bad and you're making Real Madrid look good, it's like what's the difference in like the level of the league at this point?
And then I think we were mentioning on our previous episode how some people were saying, "Oh, La Liga is like a farming league, or it's a level below Premier League because Anthony's starting to come good." And I think this is a prime example of showing that no, it's not that. It's just like obviously a situation like that's different, but it's just that uh Premier League gets so much shine and media attention that they often delude themselves into seeing what they're not. It's actually true.
Yeah. So they're just starving themselves from good football. Um, their tired legs might be catching up to them because yeah, a lot of these teams like I think I was telling you how Liverpool qualified directly in the Champions League. Then they had to make up the matches like in the Premier League matches against Everton. Then for some reason they also played this week midweek
Against Aston Villa.
against Aston Villa. And I looked into, I'm like, oh, are they making up a match? No, they're just going forward because in case they make the FA, well, I think they're out of the FA Cup, but like the Champions League matches, they're probably gonna have to make up. So they're already doing matches ahead, and that's causing more matches under their belt when
hmm
they should be resting between these weeks. You know, that was a benefit of classifying directly or qualifying directly.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's a weird situation current football because you would think at this point because there's so much studies about like going into like how a player's like mental affects a player like so much being watched on their physicals like we have so many team doctors so many new machines to watch all these things and yet it goes all out the window when it comes to money because they're playing so many more games and they're like you know what they'll be fine
Yeah.
and it obviously shows that they're not because Liverpool's being overburdened and it shows in the results
Mhm. It is. It is. There's looks like they're getting tired out. But yeah, going back to the Champions League, Mbappe got his first hat trick with
at the Santiago Bernabéu.
at the Santiago Bernabéu. Does that bring you hope, Jesse, that his signing wasn't all too bad?
Yeah, it's making me turn my words because, deservedly so in the beginning of the season, he was not good and he looked like he was causing a big problem with the team that had just won the Champions League and La Liga. So if you go from there, you bring in Mbappe, who's supposed to be the best player in the world, you expect to step up and have the team playing better. And that wasn't happening. And then now it's looking like he's turning around. He's connecting more with the team. He's getting more involved. And yeah, he's looking and he's finally got his confidence back. So his finishing is there because You saw how he made Guardiola go, that way?
Yeah, I saw. He dove. That was very infi That was that was so stupid by Guardiola. It's like, dude, like he has a possibility of coming back. Just cover the space. And he
Uh,
went in, and I love that Mbappe celebrated like that, and he just pointed at like, "Oh, you saw like cross." That was cold. That was a sick ass celebration.
yeah.
Like it just makes you look stupid, you know?
Yeah, because it made no sense for him to do that.
Mm-mm.
It was such a random thing to do.
And again, a world-class defender like him
Yeah.
to be doing like that kind of childish mistakes is kind of crazy.
Yeah. And also, I want to say John Stones, who's often been praised by English media as like one of the best center backs in the world, saying that he goes toe to toe with like Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, and all these like greats, saying that he's possibly better because, he's a modern day Rolls Royce, ball playing center back. He could play in midfield. It looks like he's done already at like 28, 29.
Yeah, my boy can't even catch a break. He's getting injured. It's like I don't know how it's all this, of course, all the English media hype up, but it's like, dude, you don't even scratch Rio Ferdinand, and to me, he's one of the worst defenders in England.
Yeah, it's crazy how much, these players get overhyped by English media.
Yeah. So, well, same thing with Rio Ferdinand. He kind of put himself up there as one of the great center backs of all time. It's like, sir, you're behind Nemanja Vidic, and that guy,
Yeah, it's crazy how they say Rio Ferdinand was like the best Man U center back
yeah,
when he was next to Vidic, who was like the he
the whole
was
defense,
yeah, he was underrated. Like he won PFA Player of the Year when he was there.
multiple years.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Like,
But
yeah,
I think that's the current media because we see him more because he's on the podcast and he appears on like all these shows. So now the younger players or like the younger people are more exposed to him, so they think that's true, but
yeah,
it's really not.
yeah. It's not. But yeah, Champions League matchups. I don't even want to touch the PSG breast. It's like just Dembele kind of going off. But in general, like we'll touch upon it a little bit. It's PSG firing off in all cylinders. So it looks like what's it called? Luis Enrique has everything together.
Yeah, it's like the team we expected them to be in the beginning of the season because that's what we all thought they were going to be.
And their two possible opponents are no feet. It's either Barcelona or Liverpool. And honestly, if me being a Barcelona fan, I don't want to come across PSG because
Especially against Dembele's current form. Because last year he was cooking y'all because of the hate, and now with his current form and hate, he might turn into the best player in the world.
it's just in general, like I think PSG is just playing fantastic, like perfect football. It's like no one's even putting up a fight.
Yeah, and what worries me about like facing a possible PSG in like the later round is their front three is so talented, but I think their midfield's even better.
Yeah. So it's like it's pretty scary to come across them right now. So uh as a Barca fan, Liverpool, you guys could have them. And if they face Liverpool, I think PSG dismantles them, honestly.
I, I I think so too. The current Liverpool does not look like they're up to snuff, and
Mm.
I think they're barely hanging on.
Yeah, they're barely hanging on to a third. I think Barcelona could put up a fight, but I can't even guarantee a Barcelona win because again, that PSG squad is looking different.
Yeah.
Um, the next matchup was what is it? You sent it to me. It's the
Uh,
Arsenal.
Arsenal with
Oh, well, we'll talk about Benfica because they're the other ones that qualified that could either face Barcelona or Liverpool. Again, I don't mind facing them again if I'm Barcelona.
honestly, I feel like Benfica can be a trap game for teams
Hmm.
because they will be underestimated. But as we've seen with the match they had against Barcelona, they can bring it to you, and
Yeah,
they have the talent. Like they have so many young players that are extremely talented that they might not be known yet, but with that game, they'll be known everywhere.
yeah. I think if Liverpool comes across them, I think Liverpool will probably. I don't think they'll win easily. They'll underestimate a little bit because again, playing in Portugal, they see it's
Hmm.
Benfica. They're not going to take it as serious, but it's a serious game. That's why I'm like, I'm not afraid if Barcelona comes across them. I think it's almost like a 70% chance Barcelona wins or goes through just because we faced them before. We know what they're about and we
Hmm.
played them at home too,
Yeah,
at their home.
that's what I think too. Think so too. If you guys get Benfica, I think it's not an easy win, but I think you guys will win with them more because you guys know what they're about because
Hmm.
of that game, and you guys won't underestimate them and will try to end the tie in the first leg
Yeah.
and not give them a chance to breathe. But Liverpool, I feel like they will underestimate them and they'll possibly be, another upset and lose to them, especially with their current form. And honestly, their forwards aren't in the best form. And it looks like with Benfica, you need to be ready for a shootout,
Hmm.
and that's scary for them, I think, currently.
Yeah, definitely. Next matchup, it's we'll just go off like your list. It's Arsenal.
Mhm.
They play two out of the VC teams, the possibility of two, either PSV or Feyenoord. And at this point, I don't know which one I would want to face.
I think maybe Feyenoord because even though they did beat Milan, it was tough. And that's what I think they do. They make it tough. And Milan hasn't looked the best, even
Hmm.
though they have a new coach and he's sort of brought back life back together. But there has been recent problems with Pulisic because I know he hasn't been his form has dropped since Contricao took over.
Since
And
I talked about him.
yeah, honestly, yeah. But yeah, because he was looking like the best player and now he's like dropped down again.
Hmm. Yeah, I think PSV is easily like the better side. They're more a
Mhm.
complete team. Again, Feyenoord lost their best player. I think they just prepared the match well, and then it was a lackluster Milan side that kind of threw away the game. Shout out Theo Hernandez.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
lost
think
his head.
if I'm Arsenal, I would not want to face PSV. I think if they face Feyenoord, I think they could beat Feyenoord.
Yeah, I think the biggest uh thing you have to do with the Feyenoord is not muddy the game that like they want to because if you just try to do that, it gives them the chance because that's what they did with Milan. They just try to keep the score low and give them to have the chance to win.
Yeah, that's what they did. And then Inter again has the possibility of facing either one of those two, either PSV or Feyenoord. Inter, I don't think that they'll have much trouble compared to Arsenal. Again, Arsenal being English, I think they'll just see these two teams and take it easy. But I know Inter will probably have the upper hand on these two. But again,
Mhm.
I don't want to face PSV. Like
Yeah,
these teams, and especially both of these teams, just knocked out both of your fellow league mates or clubs.
yeah, yeah. I think Inter will be more on guard because they just both these teams just knocked out Juve and
Hmm.
Milan. So I think they will be on guard. But I feel like Inter has the safety of knowing that they have a mercurial striker from with Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah,
And even then, they also still have Thuram. So they know that they could, account for them to show up. While Arsenal, they have no recognized striker. So they can be struggling for goals. And I think that's going to might give an edge to like the Everyday side, like give them a confidence, like, oh, we can do this against them.
yeah. Uh, Perfect scenario for like either one of those teams when whichever one's facing Arsenal is if they score early, like the out of the Visa team. I
Drop back.
Yeah, I think they're gonna take full advantage of that and just drop back, play for the 1-0.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to watch Mikel Merino because that's the only striker Arsenal
Or
have.
fucking Zinchenko coming off the bench. That's a play
Yeah,
striker. Next one is Atletico Madrid. They're either facing Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. Um, obviously the weaker side is probably Bayern Munich, easily. They are not
yeah,
looking good.
yeah. I'm upset that they went through.
You picked them in the pick'ems.
Yeah, but even then, I'm so upset because Celtic showed fight, and I was very surprised the fight that they put up. I wasn't mad that they would have won. I was actually hoping for it at the end. Screw my pick'ems, but yeah, they put up a good fight. They looked the better team. Bayern have looked like a shell of themselves for the past month or so.
Mhm. I think they're kind of looking like, who would I say? Who's the best team that would like that reminds me of them? Like Man City. They kind of remind me of what Man City is. They don't show a lot of life when they play. And
Yeah,
even
and they're
Harry Kane has like what muscle injuries. Again, he probably just scores a fucking penalty or something. But
mhm.
it, again, you paid 80 million for this dude, and he has issues. So like you can't even count on him.
And he's not young either. I think
Mhm.
he's like 31, 32 now. And plus they look frail. Like they're just clinging on to defensively like anything they can.
Yeah, so I think if Atletico Madrid comes across them, like Atletico Madrid probably wins.
Plus, I also think Atletico Madrid has the mental edge over Bayern,
Yeah,
and also they have the better coach.
I was gonna say tactically, I think Simeone would take this guy to the town with him, like easily. Like there's no point because we've seen Simeone like bust out the insane tactics, like play beautiful football, and then out of nowhere, just like minute 10, everyone drop back, we scored a goal. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, and plus he only has to really worry about is Jamal Musiala,
Hmm
and I feel like, and I worry for Musiala because
I was gonna say
Simeone,
that's like the
yeah,
perfect team to come and go. Like you would hate to see that if you're Musiala. Like
yeah,
a whole game plan for you. It's like you're screwed.
yeah, and that's the all of Bayern. Like they just have Musiala and that's it. Because Kingsley Coman, even Olise, none of them have showed up.
Nah. So yeah, Atletico Madrid's probably licking them chops. And even then, I think Atletico Madrid could put up a good fight against Real Madrid. Do I know who's gonna win from those two? No. I think this,
I
if
feel like
anything, that matchup goes to penalties.
I think that's a coin toss. Because even though and the the controversy aside from like the past game we had against them, they play us differently every single time, and they're always adapting well, and they just know how to make it difficult for Real Madrid.
Hmm So that's why I'm like, it's a coin toss because I've seen like games go like crazy where Radamel Falcao's fucks up Real Madrid. Then I've seen the Champions League finals where Real Madrid always has the edge. So it's like I don't know which side of the coin I'm gonna get. If anything, if we do get that matchup, it's gonna be insane.
I think that would probably be the most interesting matchup if it does happen for the next round,
Hmm
but I also don't want it.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I do, because I don't want to knock out Xavi Alonso next.
yeah. I was gonna say the next team it's either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich faces Bayer Leverkusen. And honestly, if I'm Real Madrid, I'm looking to get Leverkusen because I think you guys could knock out Leverkusen easily.
It is, but I want to get Athletic Madrid so Xavi Alonso goes through. But I feel like if we do go up against Leverkusen, I guess their matchup doesn't, or like their style doesn't suit against us. Because I feel like they play a similar style to us in a way,
Hmm
what they're like going back and forth. And I feel like we're just a better version of them, like with players.
Yeah. And it's funny. I don't know if the Bayer Leverkusen Bayern Munich is a derby, but it'll be insane. The Madrid derby and then the Bayer Leverkusen, well, the Bayern derby.
Yeah, it would be fun.
That would be
But
cool. Uh, if it is those kinds of derbies, I have the hater in me, Atletico Madrid. But again, it's a coin toss. I don't know.
yeah,
If I had to pick, I'm saying penalties for that game. And the Bayer Leverkusen Bayern Munich, I think Bayern Leverkusen goes through. Bayern
yeah,
Munich, they just face each other too.
yeah, and that one was unlucky to end 0-0 because Bayern Leverkusen just dominated the entire game and they just were so unlucky to not get a goal.
Yeah. So I'll just be more of that, but probably more clinical.
Yeah.
Then some would say like the last two matchups would probably be lackluster, but it's kind of interesting. Club Brugge just coming back from knocking out Atalanta, an Atalanta side that we were both hyped about. But yeah, Lille could either face Club Brugge or Borussia Dortmund. If you're Lille, who would you want to face? On paper, it's an
It's
easy
it's
answer
it's Bruges on paper, but in real life, it's
because Niko Kovac is doing amazing things in Dortmund right now, and I didn't think that team was capable of doing right now.
but the biggest thing that we've known since, especially since we're American, we know when tournament styles like this is the player with like the small team that gains confidence is so dangerous. You have to give it your all or else they'll overrun you with just the momentum they have. And
You
that's what Club Brugge have right now.
I was gonna say this is your Loyola, your what is it,
Yeah,
2018 Loyola run right now
yeah, it is.
with Club Brugge. But yeah, honestly, if I'm Leo, I'd rather come across Dortmund just because I know what they're about. There's film on Kovac. Bruges, there's still a question mark, and you don't know how they're gonna play because they just knocked out one of the better Italian sides in Europe,
Yeah.
and they made
And
them lose their head, dude. You saw the fucking captain?
not even the captain. You saw the coach, what he said afterwards.
He threw
He
his
lost.
Lookman onto the bus.
Yeah, and now there's internal problems.
Yeah, that club was completely stable, fighting for the Serie A, and I was like, oh shit, they might.
They lost their heads. They lost their heads. They're gone.
So what Bruges did is incredible. But yeah, if I'm Lille, I want to face Dortmund just because I know what I'm somewhat gonna get.
Yeah. And
Uh,
then with the other option for those two is also Aston Villa.
I think Aston Villa gets knocked out, so I don't know. Whoever one of these two clubs is, I think they want Aston Villa. Lille,
I
I think it's like one of the better French teams.
Yeah, I think Aston Villa has cooled off significantly,
Hmm.
but the big thing with them is you can never count out Emery out in European competitions.
Well, that's the thing. Emery does well in the Europa League. Remember when he goes to
Yeah.
the Champions League competitions, the knockout rounds? He typically tends to crash out.
But I mean, he did have a year where he went to the semifinal against Liverpool.
He did, but then again, it was that insane PSG squad.
No, it was Villarreal.
I'm trying to think. Still, I don't know. What is interesting about Villa? They reinforced themselves well in January. So, well, except for Malin, who was looking forward to go to Villa to play Champions League games, but he's not even in the squad list. But no, like they had a good transfer window for specifically for this.
I think I think Aston Villa looks probably the most dangerous out of all of them because the players they brought in, they just look revitalized. Like Rashford, like we said, everyone who's leaving Man U is like they got their life again, and he's starting to make runs like how he used to when he was young. Because he's no longer young. I want people to understand that no
Yeah,
longer a young
he
player.
aged 10 years as soon as he left the Man U dressing room.
And also Asensio, he's looking good. Like they look good. I think I think they're a team to watch out for.
I don't know. I think whoever's either Bruges or Dortmund, I think they could easily beat them. Um, I just don't like Aston Villa's defense. I love their attack and their midfield is like pretty good, but their
Yeah.
defense, I'm not huge fan of it. Well, I like Martins, but that's about it, and their goalkeeper. But you're gonna have to ask for a lot from Debu, especially again if it's Dortmund and Niko Kovac. Careful. If it's Bruges, you don't know what's gonna happen.
My biggest problem with Aston Villa was I don't know if you saw this is Premier League, but they when they play against Liverpool, they're playing a young right back, Spanish guy,
Hmm.
and he caused problems because he did a horrible back pass that they just signed in January transfer window, and I think it's because they have injuries at right back. Yeah,
Interesting.
Pau Torres is out, Konsa's out, so I think that's probably the biggest problem. If they could get those defenders back, I think they'll look better.
And what are the new Champions League games gonna be played in the before the break, right? Before the international break?
Let me see.
Because yeah, they're not on FootMob yet, so we're gonna probably have to look them up.
Uh, I had it.
Champions round of 16. March 4th is the first set of matches. That's
Yeah.
Tuesday. Second leg, it's not announced. Do they play on my birthday? Oh no, it looks like they're all playing the same first leg on the same day.
We're having another crazy day again. 8 games in one day, Jerry.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they're gonna split the games between 4 and 4, like 4 at noon and 4 at 2 p.m. if you're in the US Central Standard Time. That's interesting. That is interesting. And if am I looking at this right?
So yeah, they all play. So it's gonna be 4 games on the fourth, and then 4 games on the fifth, and then the next games will be the 11th and 12th,
Hmm,
and then the quarterfinals will be in April. They'll be the 8th and 9th, and then the 15th and 16th. And then the semifinals will be uh late April to May. The first one will be the 29th and 30th of April, and then the next leg will be the 6th and 7th of May. And then the final will be the 31st of May.
interesting. I'm excited. We finally got rid of this playoff thing. We're about to run out of time. But yeah, it's we have 10 minutes. We're chilling. Yeah. Again, I thought matches were gonna be a lot more close. I didn't think the games would be as open as they were, but it's interesting.
I didn't expect so many different teams from other countries to make it through, especially like the financial disparity. Because I
Hmm.
think this is like one of the few years where there's like, well, I think I saw a set said like eight different leagues are in it currently from countries, from eight different countries, teams are in it.
Hmm.
And I think that's a big disparity that no one expected.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially the amount of small teams. Because you would think with the more games, more the bigger teams would separate themselves, but they didn't. They struggled, and we saw more upsets than we expected.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, like obviously anyone that crashed out from like the big teams like Milan, Monaco, Atalanta, Man City. Am I missing anyone else? Sporting, especially how hot Sporting started. It's definitely a huge collapse. Man City's the biggest one because dude, you again millions of dollars in that squad and you guys can't get out of the
You
the
couldn't even
group
make it
stage
to
or
yeah, you couldn't even make it to the last 16.
it's crazy. And two, like you can't even like blame them like oh that they had a shitty transfer window the summer, but it's like dude, you still have Haaland, you have Foden, you have world class players. Like you that should have been enough. What else do you need?
Yeah, and everyone expected a new generation to take over, and it looks like they're not ready.
Yeah.
Everyone expected Foden to be the heir apparent to Kevin De Bruyne, and he does not look like any heir.
And do you think Amorim would have crashed out of this tournament like how they did? That kind of screwed him over. He should have just stayed.
Yeah, I think when we mentioned when he did move over, we're like, it makes no sense for him to go right now. Because it's not like he's getting a transfer window to even bring in players that he wants.
Hmm.
He came in like early November, late October, and he's struggled because he's trying to implement a system, but he doesn't have his players.
Yeah. Should have just stayed, dude. Like at the time they were a top eight in the Champions League qualifying table.
And they were like competing for the Portuguese title. And now Sporting's fallen off, and Amorim's name has dirt all over it because now they're apparently looking, they might be looking to replace him at in the summer.
The venue has spent enough money. They should stop.
Yeah, it's crazy because he was a hot coaching prospect, and now he's gonna have to rebuild his name just because he decided to go in now. It was I think it was such a horrible decision. I don't understand that one.
Again, big fan of him when he was in Sporting. Yeah, slowly thinking he's kind of stupid for doing that. Well,
Yeah,
it is because in hindsight, not well, it's not even hindsight. I think we even brought it up that there might be an issue of like Sporting might crash out, and then on top of that, like man, your situation's not gonna get better. I don't think they're gonna go anywhere.
and plus it's not like he had the players to play his system. They were all Ten Hag's players, and they didn't know what system they were playing in. And now that they were trying to play into his system, it clearly showed that they can't play it. And the ones that could play a system like Diallo is out for the season.
Hmm.
So he's left with players that aren't up to par. Like even Lisandro Martinez also injured.
Big facts. Crazy. Oh man, I'm just looking at this and that Benfica Monaco match at the end was a thriller. The second leg at least 3-3.
Agree.
They brought it back, and I think at one point Monaco was kind of riding high, right? They had the
Hmm.
lead. Let's see, because Benfica scored first. Then it was Monaco at 32. Then Monaco again at the 51st. Then Benfica gets a penalty. Then Monaco gets a goal. And then Benfica gets a goal. My bad, I saw text. So that was, if anything, a thriller. That's what I was expecting for more matches, but everything kind of died out. What was your favorite match other than the Real Madrid Man City?
My favorite
Well, you
match.
can even
Let's
bring that up. Like your favorite matchup from this.
well, favorite matchup potentially. I just think if it's like the Madrid derby and the German derby, I think that would be the best match. But for matches of this past one, I feel like the PSV and Juventus.
Hmm.
Because even though Juventus got knocked out, it was the only one that went to extra time, and that tension that brings in like knockout situations, it's so unique. Like it's do or die.
Hmm.
So I think it brings it up to another level, and I really enjoyed that one, even though I didn't end up winning that.
The matchup I'm excited for is to see who PSG gets for this upcoming thing. Um,
You- You're just hopeful it's Liverpool.
I am hopeful with Liverpool because again, I think we could beat Benfica. I think there's a 70% chance with PSG. I don't know. I think it's a coin toss, honestly. But yeah, I'm interested to see who PSG faces. For my favorite matchup for this game, I think probably the Bruges one, just because it was a complete masterclass by Bruges. Like no one expected this,
Yeah.
except for Bruges.
Yeah. If you, I think if even like a neutral or anyone, no one expected this unless you were like because anyone who says they said they picked Bruges and they weren't like a Bruges fan, they're they're lying.
And it's
But
funny, you picked them for the first leg too. And
yeah,
even then,
because
you're like, oh, fuck, you were mad because you thought you picked Atalanta.
I forgot to pick them. I was like, and then I picked Atalanta. I was like, gosh, I messed up.
But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Again, this is an impromptu episode. There's more reactions. If anything, let us know if we should keep doing this. If we could bring someone else on, we definitely can. And we're doing this through Zoom. They just have to have a web camera.
Yeah, because we did this it's about to be a year since we started, Jerry.
Has it? I thought it's probably been more, but
No, it's about to be a year because we started in April.
okay. Yeah, 2 months away.
Yeah, so and that's what our first episode was a reaction of a Champions League.
Hmm. And we're bringing it
So
back.
we're
First
bringing it
guest
back.
was SP too, so we should probably bring him back, see, gather his thoughts. Well, he's not in the
Well,
Champions League.
yeah, well, Chelsea's not. Yeah,
In that Conference League.
yeah. We don't know about that one. We don't know about that one too much.
But yeah, we could bring some people on, get their reactions, probably get a dues. I know he's been having a lot of thoughts about it. He was saying he was on my side like, oh, Man City is dead.
Yeah, major overhaul. I'm expecting this summer.
Big facts. Any closing thoughts?
No, it was a good day, Jerry. It was a good day. It was enjoyable. I was looking forward to this one because it was a good Madrid game.
Man City couldn't even let me enjoy my Wednesday, bro. They played yesterday, right?
Yeah, yesterday.
Like they couldn't even like, dude, fight. Like, so
There was
do
no
something.
fight.
There was nothing. But nah, it was interesting matches. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and play on. Peace.
Peace.